the first question to Nandan. So what is the difference between the medical affairs and MSL? MSL is a part of medical affairs. As most of companies, the medical affairs looks like after the roles were described by you. So what is your answer, Nandan, by it?
Yeah, so that question is from Krunal. So I would like to say in certain companies, MSL is a part of medical affairs. Okay, so that medical affair, one important job function is MSL. So it is a part of medical affairs. But then you have that is the field based. Then again, you have the office based who are called medical advisors. So maybe you might have got confused with that. So MA stands for medical advisor, but medical affairs is, has MSLs and MAs. Yeah.
Yeah. And a question for Sonali. As a fresher, are we eligible for the MSL profession? What is your views on Sonali?
So I'm understanding as a fresher, it means you are right out of pharmacy school or MBBS, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, I think so. As long as you can provide the value that you can bring to the company, it would be difficult. However, it is not impossible. So, for example, you are competing with people who have experience, who have been practicing in the field. So, I would say it is not impossible. However, it might be difficult, and it brings back to what Nandan has said. You have to have a really great CV that highlights everything that you have done, any internships you have done, any kind of research you have done that will highlight why you're a good candidate for this position. So yes, and also find a mentor or identify what other people have done in your country. How did they get their job, and learn from them what you can do to improve your chances of becoming a medical science liaison.
Okay. Nandan, the question to you. I keep this question from Madden. I keep hearing the MSL is just a fancy word of medical representative. Is that true?
No, it's not true, because here the word medical representative is purely sales perspective. So if a medical science liaison start talking about the brand or the numbers that we say here, then you are looked upon as the salesperson. So it is how you showcase your role that comes, that's really important. So if you start talking about the brand, then you are perceived as a sales medical representative. So it is within you.
Okay. Um, so, and one question from Krunal. This is to Sonali. Does a focus group discussion and advisory board meeting helps to find the KOLs?
So it depends. Not always. Sometimes it is from healthcare providers. Sometimes it is from KOLs. For example, if the drug it is used at the front line, for example, it is for common cold. A lot of the times, the KOLs, high-ranking KOLs that are publishing articles, they're not treating common cold. The common cold is treated by general healthcare providers, maybe some of the nurses, some of the pharmacists might have input on it. So if there is a drug for common cold, you would be having the focus group or advisory meeting with professionals that are not KOLs, but they have very important information to share. So it all depends on what kind of drug, what is the stage of development, as well as the disease state. And based on that, the decision company will make decision who are the right people that they should ask their input from.
Okay. There's a question from Anand. This is to Nandan. Nandan, does a clinical research or regulatory affairs experience is useful to get into MSL job?
Yeah. So any experience does play a major role to get into MSL. It is how you pitch in your CV. So for example, you have worked for regulatory affairs, so you have to link the responsibilities of regulatory affairs with that of medical affairs. So it's all about how you cling on to the medical affairs.
Okay. There's one more question from Krunal. This is to Sonali. Sonali, can you please share your views on the differentiating the role of marketing and MSL to develop the KOLs? As in India, it is mixed role, how they work together and develop the KOLs. As if you're an expert in oncology space, can you also please share how it is difficult to develop the KOL to switch to your own brand in oncology, as it's difficult to switch KOLs in such a chronic segment? Please share your views.
So, if I understand correctly, how to start in developing relationships with KOLs in
Yeah,
oncology?
so that there are actually there's two questions inside. The one is actually how do you develop the KOLs, because even the marketing also develop the KOLs. So how do you develop the KOLs along with the marketing? And the second question is oncology. You are working in oncology space, so how it is difficult to actually make a scientific shift in the KOLs?
Okay, so number one, developing KOLs, and you are saying the marketing is also developing KOLs, and you are also developing KOLs. How to distinguish that?
Yes,
Number
yes.
one, you can identify what are some of the people that they have already developed relationship that you think that are important KOLs for medical affairs, and reach out to your marketing colleagues and say, can you give me one introduction if it is allowed with the Indian regulation as well as by the company regulation. After that, when you have that introductory meeting, you have to again provide information. What is that you are going to bring to the table? The marketing person is not going to be able to talk to them about various pathways, molecular levels, what is the disease state, and you would be able to have that conversation in depth. So learning to have that pitch ready and communicating your value will be important. Number two, yes, it is difficult to develop relationships with people in that field, and sometimes it is really hard to even get meetings with them. So finding them at conferences, if they suddenly give a talk, you go out to them and reach out to them and say, I really valued the input that you had during this talk. I would love to, this is the feedback I had. I would love to interact with you and have a meeting later on. So finding the avenues where they could be there for speaker presentations or any other presentations, and utilizing those opportunities to interact with them will help to start build that relationship. Hope that answers the question. Let me know if you have any follow-up questions.
Yeah. Then the question to Sonali, how do you manage the field work during this pandemic? Especially you're working in the US and the number of cases is so high. So how are you maintaining this relationship with your KOLs?
That is a great question. Right now, we are not allowed to go out in the field. A lot of the institutions are not even letting any people from outside in. So a lot of my meetings are either virtual meetings, phone calls. Some people, they do not have time to talk to us. So a lot of meetings getting rescheduled. In some cases, people who do have time, the meetings are getting shorter. So yes, it is really hard. However, we are doing the best we can to still maintain a relationship, but at the same time, not bothering them too much because they have a lot more important priorities. But yeah, great question. Thank you.
The question to Nandan, there's a question that he has a background of MBBS and had a background of MBA. So will that helpful in the medical affairs?
Oh yeah, it will certainly help. So it's like you come from any background, and if you are, if your interest or your passion is science, then you can get into medical affairs. So doesn't matter you're from MBBS or PharmD or masters in pharmacy. That doesn't matter. So you're doing MBBS and MBA, then surely it'll help to get that business acumen. Yeah. So it's not only one, but major other fields also have an upper hand as well.
Okay. The another question from Ajitaba. So a question to Sonali. So it is always that insights will be the outcomes of an MSL discussion with the KOLs. How you can derive the insights from the feedbacks or challenges?
So insight is generally gathered based on the discussion that you have. What I'm understanding is if the KOL gives a feedback, how do you derive insight, correct?
Yes.
So when KOL does give a feedback, that is considered as insight. If KOL says, for example, the information that you are providing us or the information that you're bringing to me not in the format that that I understand, or the PowerPoint presentation that you have given, it doesn't have enough data to convince me that this is the way the pathway works, or it doesn't have enough scientific information. So that is considered as insight. And different companies have different reporting systems. However, the company generally provides a lot of guideline how they want to see your insight to be entered in the system. So that would, they would train you. But apart from that, yes, the feedback could be an insight. You don't have to derive separate insight from that. The feedback could be considered as insight.
Okay. Nandan, there's a question to you. How difficult or easy is in changing the therapeutic areas as you move from the cardiology to gastroenterology? How that easy to from somebody looking to shift the oncology and his MSL?
Oh, that's really a personal question. Yeah. So it was really exciting moving from cardiology to gastroenterology, because it's again a new start. So you don't have that repetitiveness. So you're learning a new disease. You're meeting different chunk of KOLs. So it was pretty exciting, and getting back to the scratch. You can relive those learning days, and yeah, and things were really good, exciting.
Okay, that's a great answer. And then the question from Dr. Assad. So, is there any specific experiences considered to break into the MSL role? Nandan, are you there?
I'll take this.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, please.
So yeah, so again, we had already touched upon this question, experience, but even if like Sonali had told, even a fresher one can get into the role. So experience does have a upper hand, but even the fresher, certain companies do hire freshers where the therapy area or the internship or the work that you had done. Uh, that plays a major role. The work that you had done prior to the job will determine your role.
Yeah. So, and the question is, Dr. Vishal. So, his question is, what is the role of MSL in the clinical research? I would ask Nandan to answer this because India is a different market altogether when compared to USA. Nandan, please.
Okay, so role of MSL in
MSL in the
clinical
clinical
research.
research. Yes.
Okay. So, see, right now where I'm working is the product is not in the molecule is still not done with its phase 3 trial. So here it was really a different set of responsibilities that I have, where you are involved in the clinical trial. So here in India, what I've seen is basically the MSL comes into picture when the drug is there for the launch. You do all those pre-launch activities, but where you don't have molecule to talk on, there what you can do is you can have that rapport going on well in hand. You develop that relationship, talk about the phase 2 trials that had happened or the ongoing trial you are involved, influencing indirectly the doctors to get the patients enrolled in the study by talking science. And here the main thing that comes into picture is your business acumen. Okay, so what in this spectrum, what other companies are talking, what other companies are having a research, and how is your company different, how your molecule on the basis of phase 2 phase 1 data, how is it different from the other molecule. So this is where in the trials you'll be focusing more on. And the other part is the trial. So here you can get involved in the investigator initiated trial. You can get involved in selecting a particular site, because you know that KOL is a really good researcher, has that experience in research in that particular disease area. So yeah, you can play wonders in this clinical research and trials as well.
Okay, that's a good answer. And then a question to Sonali. How do you initiate a first ever discussion with a KOL when you're meeting the first time? How do you make that connect?
Well, that's a great question. I think I experienced that a lot in my previous role. When I was hired, we did not have any previous MSLs. So the initiating first interaction is reaching out to them, through email or reaching out to their office and getting the first introductory meeting. If your company is well known, it is a little bit easier because there is a good reputation. If the company is fairly new, it is hard to get that first meeting. However, let's say you do get that first meeting, I utilize that to introduce myself, introduce my company, what kind of product I am supporting, what is the therapeutic area I am in, and uh, provide them information what I can do as an MSL, what kind of value I can bring, and also ask them a lot of questions, learn more about them, and listen carefully. What are their priorities? What are some of the things they're interested in? What are the kind of science they would like to hear about? And the first introductory meeting is all about developing that first impression, developing that credibility. If you do a good job during that first meeting, you're more likely to get follow-up meetings. However, if the first meeting doesn't go so well, it's hard to continue that relationship. So the first meeting is kind of like a first date. When you're meeting a girl or guy for the first time, how you're trying to develop a good impression. You have to think it that way, but in a scientific manner, developing a good impression about yourself, your company, and also showing them that you are not going to waste their time. You are going to be a good resource for them, and you are not a salesperson who is trying to sell them something. You are there as a scientific resource.
Yeah, so that's a good way to put in. Another question to you, Sonali. How do you adjust in the new therapeutic area, or if someone is willing to change therapeutic area? Uh,
Yeah, great question. I personally have changed multiple therapeutic areas and I enjoy it. It was my choice. I wanted to be in more than one therapeutic area for future long-term goal that would make me more marketable in the field. It all comes down to, as Nandan mentioned, learning a new thing. If you have a basic knowledge about medicine, basic knowledge about biology, cell biology, molecular biology, it is not as hard as you think. You will have a training period. A company provides you training period to learn about the therapeutic area. So it is possible. Is you have to have willingness to understand the data and ask questions, ask for help from your colleagues internally. They will provide you training. As far as learning and having those conversations, it is slightly difficult than the therapeutic area you have always been into. But if you have the desire to learn as well as desire to grow, is actually a great opportunity to work in more than one therapeutic area to have more job security in the future.
okay, that's a great answer. And then the question to you, it is already answered by Sonali, but the Dr. Asad, he would like to know the Indian perspectives, how the COVID pandemic has impacted your MSL interactions with the KOLs.
Okay. Uh, so, like Sonali had mentioned,
हाँ
the
ना
field
एक
visits
मिनट
are.
मैं थोड़ा बिजी हूँ
Can you mute
Yes,
yourself?
yes.
Yeah. So, the field visits are completely nil because you cannot go out. So it is what remote engagements that is all happening. So here I would like to highlight, if you're in the field of cardiology, you can search for new ESC guidelines that have come up in terms of COVID, like for heart failure. How are what are the guidelines? So take some time and send those full text article by giving your summary in that mail. So probably that'll since the doctors are busy in the situation, they can have a quick overview of it, and there you're still in their mind. So during the emergency situations, you have come to the help. So this is what is remembered. So these are the few things, small things, which will make a big impact later on. So this is what I'm doing right now.
Okay. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Yes, I think we answered the most of the questions. There's a specific question for regarding the certification programs in the medical affairs or the MSLs. Just I would like to take that question. This webinar, we are not intended to comment any of the courses like BCMS or ACMAS courses. It is all up to you. That definitely it is all depends on you. So I have seen so the MSL without the training, they without any certification profession they got into, they break the MSL job, and there's suddenly MSLs who actually develop the skills. It is all depends definitely on the individual perspectives. So, and we are not intended to comment any of the courses here. Hope that answers the question of that the certification programs that are offered by some of the societies. Yeah. Um I think any other questions, guys? So please keep posted. And there's one more question. Uh, what is the best source for a look over the articles? The Nandan, would you like to answer this question?
Yeah. So here, see, here it comes like having those keywords. So if you know how to do that advanced search on PubMed, so you'll get that specific articles that you're looking for. So, and again, the article that is published in a reputed journal where the impact factor is good, like I was highlighting about NEJM. So that the article from where it is coming from and what kind of study it is plays a major role, rather than which search engine you're going through. So it's the journal and the type of study that was done uh, plays a major role. So for example, your case study is not that beneficial, rather the meta-analysis is really good. So that is how you ascertain this, how best the article is.
Okay. So Nandan, there's one more question to you. Is in what way the product manager or product training personnel is different from the MSL, especially in India? Many people who are working in that profession or conducting the scientific CMEs and interacting with the KOLs.
Okay, so to get the question right, so product manager is in the marketing team.
Yes.
Okay, so see, again, it's like the sales and marketing are like brothers and sisters, I would say, wherein marketing people will tell how to sell the product. So they develop the strategies. So again, here they talk about the brand. But as a MSL, the strategy is totally different. You don't go into selling the medicine. You are going to have that scientific discussion with the molecule, or regarding the molecule. So I would say it is opposite poles. Even you cannot go and have a discussion with the KOL with a product manager or any of the marketing or salesperson. So you are representing the medical team, and it is totally different.
Okay. The one more question to you, Nandan. How KOL will help to convince the junior doctors or early adopters for your therapeutic segment, whether their prescription pattern is followed the junior doctors or like consultant treatment? Uh, hope you got the question.
So I would like to rephrase it, if I've understood this question right. So it's about influencing the prescription behavior.
No, yeah. So you are meeting the KOLs and you having a discussion. So if the KOLs is how the KOL will help to convince the junior doctors or the tier 2 doctors or tier 3 doctors.
Okay, so I guess to answer this question, here you're not going for the prescriptions or influencing. Uh, Getting prescriptions is not a part of MSL job, is how I see it. Maybe others have a different perspective in other companies, but medical person getting influencing for a prescription is not a work of a medical person. So it has to come from the sales guy. And here the tier 1, tier 2 doctors is again terminologies of the sales.
Okay. Sonali, would you like to add anything here from the US perspective?
That's a great answer. As an MSL, we are providing the right knowledge as well as the scientific information that they need. And then we don't get measured, our performance don't get measured on prescription. That is completely different, non-compliant. So I completely agree with Nandan that that is sales and marketing, and we are medical professionals that speaks about data science, provides information and knowledge so that they can make the best decision for their patients, what they see fit. So we don't get involved in prescription behaviors at all.
Okay. Uh, this will be my last question to Nandan. What is, due to the limited of time, paucity of time, I'm restricting the number of questions, but definitely you can email the questions to the Indian Society of MSL at the rate of gmail.com, and our speakers will answer the question. And the last question to Nandan, what are the key areas to focus for a cardiology MSL?
Okay, so cardiology MSL, you'll have to focus on what disease area the company is working on. So, for example, if the company has a molecule on heart failure, get the overview, the competitive studies, or how the product is doing in a molecule. Its data going through the phase 3 data and any real world evidences that have been published. So get in depth of the disease and the molecules that is with the company, and also a competitive landscape across that area, what other molecule or the companies are working on. So having an overview will give you an upper edge in the interview.
Okay. Yeah, so with this, I think we come to the end of this webinar because it's already almost 1 hour. So first of all, I would like to thank you, Nandan and Sonali, for taking the time and giving an excellent presentation. And definitely, indeed, it's really helpful for the aspiring MSLs in India, how to break the MSL job, and also MSLs who are working in India, how to manage the KOLs and their activities effectively. And thanks again so much. And thank you all these participants joined during this difficult time. And we really appreciate your enthusiasm to learn. With this, we are signing off. And please do follow our LinkedIn group for the latest updates.